How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be doing a guide on how you can go ahead and set up your teams, because there's a lot of new players playing Blazing right now, and with the new addition of 7-star units, I feel like it's important to go ahead and make a video like this where I could tell you really just the way I set up my team if you've ever been curious, or if you're just really wondering how. Like I said, a lot of new players playing the game, and I see a lot of people asking me for help with that, so I thought I'd go ahead and sit down today and make a video just for that purpose. So with that said, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be kind of simple, honestly. Like, it's not hard setting your team, and I'm not really an expert or anything crazy. There's nothing that I do that's special that nobody else does. So with that said, it's really important to take these things into account though for different game modes. Now, this isn't going to be covering PvP, so if that's what you imagine, then I'm sorry. PvP, it really depends on the meta and your team setup, so that's up to you. But with PvE, it is a little bit better, I feel like, in my opinion, because you can just use multiple units and it's really just more flexible, and people are constantly coming up with strategies. What's really cool is that a lot of these missions are specific, so each mission can really help you out, like depending on which mission you're trying to do. For instance, like a super impact that happens to just be a new super impact, you could take the extra effect unit, or you could take someone for that typing, obviously. But a lot of people are really creative with the teams that they take, and it's really good for that. But just as a basic overhaul, just an overall pretty much simplistic version of a team setup, that's really what I want to talk about, because like I feel like it's really not too complicated, but a lot of people still struggle. So first of all, I'll tell you what it is I do when it comes to my team setups. So I have all my team setups being used. So what I personally like to do, I like to have my body team first, heart team second, then I have skill, wisdom, bravery, and then this team can usually be under 28, or in this case it's just a random team. Honestly, that's a pretty good team setup. I feel like all these units are pretty good. I have Sage Mode Naruto there just for now, and then this is the team that I usually take when it comes to actually going and doing the daily ninja trials. This is what I just take right here, so that's that. But the most important thing when it comes to all these teams is making sure that, you know, I have like it all on one hand where it's one typing, so I'm always set no matter what the objective is. Now, of course, the units you take, again, it just depends. It's very flexible. There's nothing wrong with taking units. As long as you're able to get through a mission, who cares who you take? Like, it doesn't matter which units you choose. As long as you're able to get through the mission, that's all that matters. But what I think is very important is that you do have like a variety. Like, you need AoE, you need healing, and you need nuking. I feel like that's a very, very important thing. So like Tendo Pain here with Kakashi, a lot of heals from Kaguya, Naruto, and Obito with the nuking capability. Like, this is a really good strong heart team, honestly. And there's a lot of other units you can still take. Edo Minato as well, one just comes off the top of my head. There's so many units, but like just making sure that you have an even basis. Like when it comes to my skill type team, I mean, I have a 99 luck lead right there. You can obviously replace it. I always recommend having a 99 luck lead, but I don't always do it nowadays because it really doesn't matter anymore. To be honest, for me, I don't mind getting the lucky drop or not unless I need it for the pearl. But obviously, having multiple units, I feel like that's one thing that Naruto Blazing excels at, because a lot of other games you can't necessarily take multiple units, or at the very least you can't take multiple characters. So I always kind of like that with this, so just making sure that you have that. But obviously the most important thing are the sync skills, you know, just taking advantage of the sync skills. This is something that I actually slack on, if I'm being completely honest with you. And when it comes to like older units, I honestly don't think that it's the most huge thing in the world. You'll probably have some that just come by default. Like with Madara, the reason I love him is that he can't get jutsu sealed if you have him on a skilled team. He dodges, he has healing, he's in a 3-6 chakra. Like it's pretty simple, man. It's not rocket science to come up with these things. Like, so this is the teams that I usually take. A team over here, just tons of AoE damage, bravery, obviously no heals right here. So you need to have it balanced out though. You don't want to have all of one too many things. But what I think is really important is that, like I said, you take advantage of the sync skills. And nowadays the sync skills are getting better, obviously. So like with Obito, for example, he's one of the ones that you need to really take into account when it comes to his sync skills. So if you sync with heart, it reduces body damage. That's awesome, obviously. But if you sync with mid-range, you nullify jutsu sealing. If you sync with Uchiha, you nullify chakra recovery sealing. And if you sync with all except heart, you nullify immobilization. So you're not going to be getting that one. But obviously, just being able to sync with Uchiha and syncing with mid-range, that's very important. So a lot of units actually do depend on their sync skills, and usually that's more for PvP. I feel like too, like a lot of people pay attention to that more for PvP. Honestly, I just throw together units, but you need to make sure that you do take that stuff into account. It's really just not hard, man. Like, and especially with the units we're always getting better units. You want units that can ignore the sub, dodge, all that type of stuff, and just go ahead and do things of that nature. But you just really need to have it of like a variety. You don't want to have too much of one types. You don't want to like have nothing but single target units. You don't want to have nothing but just AoE. You want to have like a variety, obviously, so that's very good as well. But honestly, like it's not rocket science, man. I really just wanted to make a video talking about this kind of stuff because like I feel like a lot of people slack, and I see a lot of people put together teams that don't always go well together, and you just really need to keep that into account, especially when it comes to pearl only objectives. Like, I mean, there's plenty of units that can really help you for that. Like, what I always like to say is that it's really good to get a type unit that it's not only a really good unit that can benefit the typing, but it can also switch the typing over as well. So like an example for heart type would be Kaguya. Right here, I would switch her out for Kushina because Kushina is the one that's able to switch typing. So yes, you can have Kaguya, who's a nuker that ignores type advantage, but you can also have a unit like Kushina where she switches the typing and she does a lot of damage to skill. Something like that is very crucial in my opinion, and honestly, nowadays I would say it's probably helpful to have at least one type switch unit on the team. If you can, try to make it a unit that does fit the typing. Like, obviously there's Omui that can also switch this typing to skill, but why have a skill unit when you can have Kushina that also does the damage on top of that? Now, one thing that I also want to talk about is that when it comes to building teams, there's still so many things that we really need. Like, I feel like we still need a 750 boost for body, like, because the thing is, in my opinion, yes, the Sage of Six Paths Naruto has a 750 boost across the board, but that man doesn't have it for just a specific typing like body and skill. And although you might think that that doesn't matter, you still can't take him onto a body only objective or a skill only objective. Like, we need something for that, man. We need a typing that can be body or skill, and they can give you a 750 boost, because that's very important. Obviously, taking advantage of the field and buddy skills, that's obviously very important as well. Just making sure that your team just is set. It really is. Like, I feel like Heart team is the best team that you could really like show off for that, because you have so many amazing units like Final Valley Naruto, where his field skill boosts your attack by 750 for Heart, so literally everybody on this Heart team is going to get boosted, and then the buddy skill as well. Just stuff like that, man. It's really not hard. All you have to do is just play it smart. And of course, this is Blazing, so one of the most amazing things about it, in my opinion as well, is that friend units, you can just keep using them over and over again, so you can literally complete the team setup just like that, and you really don't have anything to worry about, man. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about today. I know this is pretty simple stuff for a lot of you guys who've been playing for quite a while, but if you wanted to know some insight on my team setups or anything like that, then hopefully this helped you out. But a lot of new players, I just don't want you to struggle, man. It's really not rocket science. Just build your team with units that are kind of complementing each other. Like, that's really basic. I just have a typing for each one, and it's really not that big of a deal, and you'll get the hang of it over time, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for today. I hope y'all enjoyed this nonetheless. I think it's pretty cool just sitting down and talking about something like this. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.